Breaking news. The political news dominating discussion today in the United Kingdom is centered on Prime Minister Keir Starmer, former US President Donald Trump, and the growing role of the US dollar in global and British politics. These three elements have become closely linked as debates over foreign policy, economic independence, and global power intensify. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing strong political pressure after choosing to pursue a more pragmatic and economically focused foreign policy. His government has signalled that the UK must rebuild its global trade relationships to stabilise the economy, strengthen the pound, and reduce pressure caused by inflation and high living costs. This approach has placed Starmer at the centre of international attention, particularly because it involves managing relations with both the United States and China while trying to protect British economic interests. Starmer has repeatedly stated that Britain will act in its own national interest while remaining committed to democratic values and international security. Donald Trump has re-entered the global political conversation by openly criticizing Britain's diplomatic and economic direction. Trump has warned that closer engagement between the UK and China could be dangerous, arguing that Western allies should remain united against Beijing's growing influence. His comments have caused political ripples in London as the United States remains Britain's most important military and strategic partner. Trump's remarks have been widely shared across British media and social platforms, sparking debate about whether the UK risks damaging its special relationship with Washington. The US dollar plays a silent but powerful role in this political story. The strength of the dollar continues to affect the UK economy, trade costs, energy prices, and inflation. Many British economists argue that decisions made in Washington, especially under leaders like Trump, directly impact the British pound and the cost of imports. When Trump speaks about trade wars, sanctions, or currency dominance, markets react, and those reactions are felt in the UK almost immediately. This is why Starmer's government is closely watching US political developments, including Trump's influence on global markets and the US dollar's position as the world's dominant currency. Starmer's political challenge is balancing economic reality with political loyalty. On one side, the UK depends heavily on dollar-based trade systems, US investment, and financial markets. On the other side, Britain needs economic growth, foreign investment, and access to global markets, including Asia. Trump's criticism has made this balancing act even harder, as any shift away from US preferences is portrayed by his supporters as a strategic mistake. Within the UK Parliament, opposition figures are using Trump's statements to question whether Starmer is risking national security for short-term economic gains. The politics around the dollar have also become more visible in public debate. Rising global reliance on the US dollar gives Washington enormous influence over allies and rivals alike. Some UK politicians argue that this dependence limits Britain's economic sovereignty, while others say alignment with the dollar is unavoidable and beneficial. Trump has long supported the idea of American financial dominance, and his return to political relevance has revived discussions about protectionism, tariffs, and currency power. These issues directly affect British exporters, importers, and consumers. Keir Starmer has tried to present himself as a calm and stable leader amid this international noise. He has avoided direct confrontation with Trump, choosing instead to emphasize cooperation, shared history, and mutual economic benefit between the UK and the US. However, critics argue that silence can be interpreted as weakness, especially when Britain is publicly warned by a former US president. Supporters of Starmer counter that diplomacy requires restraint and that reacting emotionally to Trump's statements would only increase tensions. As global politics move toward uncertainty, the connection between Trump, the dollar, and Starmer's leadership highlights how interconnected modern politics has become. A statement made in the United States can shape political debate in the UK within hours. Currency strength, trade policy, and diplomatic language now influence public opinion just as much as domestic policies. For British voters, this raises an important question about how much control their government truly has in a world dominated by powerful economies and strong political personalities. In summary, today's political news shows a United Kingdom navigating complex international pressure. Keir Starmer is attempting to protect Britain's economic future while maintaining strategic alliances. Donald Trump's warnings have reignited debate over loyalty, independence, and global power. The US dollar remains a central force connecting both leaders, shaping markets, policies, and political narratives. This triangle of power is likely to remain at the center of UK political discussion in the coming months, especially as global tensions and economic uncertainty continue to rise.